How you doing, everyone? My name is Evo, and today I'm just going to do a very quick introduction video to probably the first main series that I'm going to be doing here exclusively on YouTube outside of my challenge runs on Twitch, and that is going to be my A to Z guide for supports for Smite, because not everyone's the biggest fan of playing support in Smite. I have been a support main since season 2. So I've been around the block. Believe it or not, I have been playing this game for that long. My lack of diamonds clearly doesn't show that, or the fact that level 125 I take breaks like a lot of people do on games that they play. So the whole purpose of this video series on here is to go through every gods alphabetically from A to Z. So Achilles to Zonqui, we have got Morgan Le Fay coming out very soon, so she will be slipped in here, but obviously she's not going to be in here for a little while in like this kind of section here, so nothing to worry about too soon. So yeah, basically I'm going to go through and kind of show you guys my build paths, my thought process, and how I personally play all the gods in support, as I do have this niche of, you can ask me, have you played this god as a support? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. It doesn't matter what god it is. At some point or another, I have played them as a support, be it once, twice, or a lot of times. It always happens. I would say the biggest one for me on that would be my Tiamat. One moment. The audio for that was a lot louder than I expected. Turn my volume down a bit here. I want to enjoy the wonderful music produced by my boy Dreamy Electronic, who I will give you all the relevant links to at the end of the video here. But my Tiamat, my history, it's not perfect. I've only played 6 games on Tiamat, but all the games on Tiamat, apart from the one arena game that I played, which was the first time I played Tiamat, the preceding 5 games have all been support games. I know it's nothing to shout right home about. I've only played her 6 times in total, but you get the gist. Is I've only played one game as Baba Yaga. That is me as a support. It's the only time I've played Baba Yaga as one support game. I've never played a mid, anything else. Straight onto support. That's it. End of. And I do this because I enjoy it. It's more challenging. There are a lot of gods that have got a unique kit and have got that type of CC in them, and in certain situations where they can work really, really well. Here, I'm just make sure my phone doesn't turn off because I've got a little list of bits and bats I want to kind of break down. But that's basically the general purpose of the series. Is I want to talk to you about my, my build paths, my thought process, why I think a god might work as a support. Even though this shouldn't be a support, I want to try and justify it with sound logic and reasoning from an analytic standpoint as best I can, so that the point makes sense and it isn't just me going, I'm gonna play support because I can. We've all played those games where we've had some guy play, I don't know, Chungar in my mind is a very good example of this, where I've played in games and I've played against someone playing a Chungar and they've gone Chronos, Sands of Time, sorry, or Conduit's Gem, cooldown boots into Chronos Pendant, Tahuti. So they aren't supporting the team properly. They haven't gone for the Rod of Asclepius for the increased healing for the team, or the Lotus Crown for the increased protections when you heal your teammates. They've gone for the standard kind of utility Chongar mid build. They haven't got a support starter item, so they're actually super far behind. Even in games where I've gone against Chongars that like 3-0, and I'm like, say, I don't know, for the sakes of the argument, like 1-2. But I'm still ahead because I have a support item. I have more golden XP with them passively, naturally, from just playing as the role I'm in. And it's something that this might teach some people that do watch this that aren't a fan of support, how they can go, I'm going to pick up and play someone that's not a support, but I'm going to build them and play them in a mentality that makes them viable as a support. I'm sorry that my webcam is in the way. I should have resized this, but we'll worry about that later. So obviously the first god we'll start with is Achilles. I want to give a really quick rundown kind of how this is going to go. We all know Achilles is a warrior. The warriors and obviously guardians are the easier ones to work with and play in the game as a support. They are slightly more catered to it. He has got a stun on his first ability. His second ability gives him increased protections and gives him a heal on his abilities, which is incredibly good for sustain, but also makes him much more tanky. Multiple 2 dashes on his third ability. does really good damage if hit multiple times, and execute on his ultimate, as we all know, and his passive, which gives him bonus health and protections. Or if you remove the armor, bonus movement speed and bonus physical power. Obviously, as you can imagine, as you can see here, 5 plus 2 HP per level. At level 1, you're getting 7 bonus protections of each, and a bonus 40 HP is incredibly good in the early game. It's a lot, and it's not something to scoff at. And that's how it goes. And these are the different little bits and bobs that you've got to look at towards gods. Obviously, moving forwards after that, we've got the Agnes, the AMC, the Arpoche, gods that aren't designed to be in that support role, but gods that I will quite happily and comfortably play in the support role, and I will explain when we get round to those gods what the build path you need to go, your leveling differences, your mentality is how to play them in the support role. AMC is a great choice of this. We will go much more into depth as this. But obviously the normal AMC, you're probably be wanting to max his second ability. It's his main damaging and wave clear ability. And then probably the Hive, gaining the increased movement speed, attack speed, and the passive healing from it. Ultimate when you can, and finally Honey. I'm a support main. I don't care too much about this initial damage here. I'm leveling the Honey first. I'm increasing the slow. We haven't got the greatest amount of scaling anyway because of the build path we're going to be going. So this 61 at max rank, this 61 tick, it does a lot more damage than people will expect it to do. It's nice constant sustained damage in a fight. The slow getting scaling is good. Then I'll probably max the Hive next. I want this increased survivability. I'm not a fast god in the slightest, so I want to be able to get around a little bit quicker. Then I'll look at Swarm, and then obviously the Stinger ultimate. Finally, we can also do. It's just how I look. Sorry, everyone. It's just how I look at it. You've got to kind of just pick things up slightly differently. All these gods, you have to try and build differently depending on how their kit scales. Agnes is a slightly different case, who will be the second god we'll cover here. MC obviously being the third. Is the stun doesn't change if you max the 1. The 2 gets increased cooldown. The 3 just stays neutral minus the damage. Same with the ultimate here. So Agnes, you could probably level in pretty standard. You can level the 2, the 3, the 1, and you'd be fine with it because there's no changes in the kit as you go. But AMC, I think, is a really good early prime example of how you've got to change the kit and how you level him, and also obviously the build paths we'll kind of talk into more in depth on the video. Not only, it's not going to be a clear-cut single build. I want to kind of try and explain a couple different routes you can go to try and make the most of it, and also tweak his build that you're wanting to look at in different situations, because you're not always going to build the same thing on him every single game. It's not quite clear-cut when you're a support. You can build a lot of different things, and you can go a lot of different routes. But that's something, like I say, we'll go into a lot more in depth later on. But it's going to be tanky builds for the most part. I don't see it. I'm not playing an ADC in the support role to sit there and mess about and build the standard 6 core item ADC build, because it doesn't work, because you're down a support. Yes, your base HP and defenses aren't quite the same as a Ymir or an Ares, or even something like a Chak or a Hercules even. But you've got to try and play it in a sense that you get utility out of the god, you get utility out of the kit, and it can be really impactful if you play it properly. And people don't understand the fact that you can do this on gods, and are just really happy to jump into support and look at, I don't know, Poseidon and go, Poseidon does a lot of damage, so let's just max all his ability. Let's just max him out and just do as much damage as possible. On Poseidon, I'm maxing Whirlpool first. It's a slow, it cripples the targets that are inside it, it pulls them into the center, it's really effective in team fights. I want this on as low a cooldown as possible in the early game. If I can get it up, I'm getting it off cooldown. The 1, in reality, doesn't, besides the damage scaling, it doesn't actually change. I will actually max Trident next. I want this increased movement speed and base damage per hit in these team fights, the reduced cooldown. It's a lot more impactful than you'd think, and it's just something that you have to kind of think about and change as you go ahead. Looking at these other gods, as you kind of play them, it's how the mentality goes and how you play them that makes a difference. But that's something that I'm going to talk into anyway as we go into, obviously as we play and go through it, go into the builds as we go into each specific video. I don't want to go too in depth at the moment, but Achilles and the Guardian, like I say, Guardians and Warriors, they're really clear cut. They've got really nice synergy in their kit as a support in a build path that you can kind of go pretty standard quite happily. Mages, I find, tied with assassins, are the second easiest. Mages, obviously, you've got a lot of CC and a lot of mage kits. You know, more range capability. Wave clear is really good, especially in the early game with a support mage. But high base damage than a guardian, ranged basic attacks is really impactful. Assassins tend to have really good kits as well, but being a melee god, sometimes if you're not careful, you can get blown up in the early game. But as you scale towards mid-late, you're not going to struggle too much. Hunters are a little bit more squishy compared to a lot of the other gods in the game, I find. They struggle a bit more. Oh god, I am sorry. I'm tired. Anyway, sorry, yeah, back onto point. Hunters scale a little bit worse in terms of the tankiness in the early game, so they can struggle. The wave clear is still really good. They struggle, though, with slightly less utility, I find, than most. Unless you're looking at certain ones. Anher can work, but he's really awkward to play. I'm not the best Anher, so when that one rolls around, I apologise for what you're about to witness. Apollo's an incredibly easy one. Being an Apollo and having someone that's basically as technically at that point a support with a global rotation is really good, so you've got to be careful on that one. His mez and his dash are incredibly useful. In team fights, Cerninos is a support ADC that I really enjoy. You know, let's just pull up Hunters here. AMC is not the worst. Hou-Yi can be pretty good if you play it properly. The ones that you're mainly going to look to struggle on is mainly stuff like the Rama. Neath can be kind of iffy, Jingwei, Medusa, depending. Heimdallr I'm not good on. Danzabora is actually quite good. A lot of these Gibelonke as well. You're kind of just having to play them in a different way each time and each game to try and get the get an impact off of them. Well, I hope this rundown has been been helpful to everyone, kind of just breaking down kind of the reason for the series, my mentality, my thought process, and kind of you understand why I'm doing it. I'm not just being a troll and being like, here's a god, here's a stupid support build that probably won't work half the time, and I've never done it before, I'm going to do it as a joke. No, I'm doing this as a serious thing to give more options to players, because over time, yes, I haven't got all the supports got diamonded or anything like that. When I play with friends and other stuff and I am a support main, I like to jump into the support role, but I also like to play silly things and enjoy myself with the game, especially when you play through casuals and stuff. So I do it like that to try and enjoy the experience on Smite, especially with friends, as best I can. So I kind of want others to kind of learn that you can enjoy the game as much as you can playing these other gods that aren't meant to be supports, but not screw the team over, tilt randoms, and actually have an impact in these games as you go forwards. I mean, let's just pull this up real quickly here. History. I don't think it's going to be the best history in the world. I have no history, apparently. Support. Just don't ask. This is support we lost. That's fine. This was also support. No, that was an ADC low-key game. Again, playing with my friends. This was an ESET support build. I'll just quickly jump on. I love ESET support. I think it works really well. This was my build in the end of the game. This was pretty much just a straightforward build path from the... This was boots, obviously, tank boots, Pythags. Pythags early game on support mages is something I really like. I needed the voiceover. They had 3 magical. Probably could have gone with the Art Ward Amulet instead. That might have been a better choice there, but I wanted to try and increase my damage output because we had the Ra. And obviously the Ra did really well. The Ra actually did top damage on our team, I believe, by the end of the game, who was a friend of mine as well. So was the Bakasora and the Achilles. And it got to that later game where we wanted to try... I wanted to try and maximise the Ra damage because I was playing the set. I was wanting to... And I was tankier. I wanted to Spirit Ball, Silence, Wing Gust in their face and try and get as much of maximise the damage from the Ra as possible. So we kind of played it like that. But that's kind of how I was thinking to play it. Other people might think it differently. Anyway, I've been waffling on a little bit there towards the end, but I just want to try and explain my thought process and my mentality towards it as best as I can for everyone so that it's clear and it makes sense. So yeah, I hope you all kind of enjoy this little introduction and you have watched it all the way through and it makes sense to you. I did shout out my boy Dreamy, whose music it is and who he has allowed me to use this. I'm not going to get copyright strike by this. Thank you, Dreamy. Don't hurt me. So I will have a link to his channel a link to all his relevant stuff. It's a one link. You go on that. It's got access to his YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, everything like that. You can just click that and have access to all his links. So please check him out. His music's great. I really love using it for the background music. It's such a good vibe to all his songs. So please check him out. I have got a Discord server with one of my mates, Aaron, who I will be doing a lot of other content with, not necessarily Smite, but I will be posting my challenge runs and VODs. Of like the cut down clips from days and stuff, so there will be other stuff on here, and also a lot of Japanese product. I've already opened a box of Shining Star V Japanese Pokemon product. Really good booster box. I actually got some good stuff out of that. If you're not interested, that's not your type of thing, that's fair enough, but the option is there. I am kind of trying to do a broad variety of content for stuff that I enjoy. Playing Smite, playing TCGs, doing challenge runs on games is my day-to-day thing that I enjoy doing, so I want to put that out there. And also there'll be a link to my you can check me out on Twitter. You can just check my profile. There's a link to my Twitter and my Twitch Evolution 8boy, Twitter Corey_Evo8boy, if you want to check out to keep up to date and stuff. And if you want small brilliant Smite content, I am also a caster for the Albion Giants League for Albion Giants over on Twitch. So if you want to come along and support me and the rest of us over there and check us out, please feel free to do so. We stream on Sundays and Mondays for not only NNA League, but also an EU League. So if you want to check that out, I'd greatly appreciate everyone showing up for that as well. So I hope you all are looking forward to the first one. Obviously, the first God guide on here being the Achilles. So if that's something you're looking forward to after seeing this, then please remember to like and subscribe. And I'll have that up as soon as I get around to recording it, hopefully in the next day or two. But I hope you all enjoy the series that's going to be coming up, and hope you have found this informative and kind of understand the mentality, like I say, that I'm going for. So I'll see you all in the next video. My name is Evo. I appreciate it, everyone. Peace.